Hello, folks. Mr. Spalding here. We're looking today at the AP World History document-based question rubric. You have all written answers, or essays rather, in response to documents for the last almost 2 years now. All of last year, we used documents to write, and then this year we've been using documents to write. For the AP exam, a rubric similar to the one I'm about to go over with you will be used. There are 7 points for our marking purposes. Each of these categories is worth multiple points, not just a single point. So I can give you some credit for partially fulfilling each quality. However, on the AP exam, you either have it or you don't. So, for example, on the AP exam, there is 1 point possible for thesis and claim. Only 1 point. You either have it or you don't. Whereas on our rubric, we have multiple points for this. And I will give you credit if you have partially stated a thesis, or if you have the thesis incorrectly located or expressed. So please keep that in mind. The rubric that I am using with you gives you credit for partially fulfilling each of these categories. Whereas on the AP exam, you must completely fulfill each category to get the point. All right. And that's not a big deal because most of you are completely fulfilling many of these categories, but you just want to make sure you do the whole job and do it well. All right. All right. I'm going to go through this step by step, or point by point, rather. The first quality that's required is a thesis or claim. And we're just going to call it thesis. You have to respond to the prompt. That almost always means using a keywords from the prompt with a historically defensible thesis that establishes a line of reasoning. Okay, now let's unpack what that means. A historically defensible thesis. If you have built your essay on 3 or 4 historical statements that are supported by evidence, and if you have taken key phrases from each of those body paragraph historical statements and included those in your thesis, then you will have a historically defensible thesis. Express those ideas in order, in the order in which you are going to introduce them in the essay, and you are well on your way to having a line of reasoning relevant to the prompt. All right? So many of you are already doing this and doing it well, so you're going to keep that up. Please note this: to earn this point, the thesis must make a claim that responds to the prompt. You can't just rephrase the prompt. You are all, every one of you is doing that to some degree or another, and some of you are doing it just outstandingly. The thesis must consist of 1 or more sentences located in one place, either in the introduction or the conclusion. Now, I have told you that the thesis must be in 1 sentence. And you say, wait, Mr. Spalding, it says 1 or more sentences. Yes. However, if you can put it in a single sentence, that is going to be much more effective than if you have it in 1 or more sentences, particularly if those sentences aren't right beside each other and aren't clearly connected ideas. So it's kind of an insurance policy to put it in a single sentence. The AP used to require that it was a single sentence, but now they allow more than 1 sentence. I'm going to suggest that you stick with that single sentence thesis statement. It's the most sure way of expressing a thesis in a manner that will be convincing. So that's the first point. Without that point, it's hard to get some of the other points. All right. So that's key, that's critical. My suggestion is to you to write that thesis statement after you have decided on your 3 historical statements that form the basis of your 3 body paragraphs. All right. Good. So that's the first, in the first paragraph, the first sentence of the first paragraph. The next 3 sentences of the first paragraph are your context. What's happening in the world at the same time? That's the next point. It says, describes the broader historical context relevant to the prompt. Okay, so you're going to talk about broader historical events, developments, or processes that occur before, during, or continue after the time frame of the question. Okay, you need to have more than a phrase or reference. You have to bring in evidence beyond the sources, in other words, examples, specific examples, and you should relate it to the prompt. And that you can do that with a phrase. You can say, for a at the same time, blah 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 was happening, in a similar, or you could say in a different manner, or influencing events related to the prompt. Somehow connect the context information to the topic of the prompt. Okay, and again, many of you are doing this outstandingly. So these 2 together form your first paragraph. The next section is all about your body paragraphs here. So that all the rest of the points are related to the evidence and the argument in your body paragraphs. Okay? This section here requires you to use the documents. If you simply describe the content of documents, you get 1 point, at least 3 documents. If you go on and you use that evidence and evidence from 3 more, so a total of 6 documents. If there's only 5, then you can only use 5. But if you say what the document says, in other words, the main idea of the document, and you use that document to support a historical statement, that gets you another point. And all of you are doing this, all right? All of you are already doing this, all right? If you're using 2 sources in each body paragraph, and there's 3 body paragraphs, you probably have 6 documents right there. My suggestion is always use all the documents that are provided in order to maximize your possibilities of points. Then you get another point if you explain point of view or context or audience or purpose for each document. Now, you don't have to do all of those. You don't have to do point of view. You could do context of the source, or audience of the source, or purpose of the source. Only one of those. Please only do 1 for each document. You only have to do that for 4 documents. My suggestion, though, is to do it for all of the documents in order to maximize your points. So here are the points over here. 1 point for describing what the main idea, the con of each of at least 3 documents. Another point, if you use those documents to support a historical statement, which should be supporting your thesis, and another point for explaining point of view or context or audience or purpose. All right. Now, the next item here uses at least 1 additional piece of specific historical evidence. I have said that in your body paragraph, you should bring in some additional information. All right. If you do that in every body paragraph, you've got this point. All right. So right there, folks, all of you have in different essays demonstrated part or all of these qualities. If you did that, you would get 6 out of 7 points, and you'd be well on your way to getting a really good grade on the exam. The last point is for analysis and reasoning. Now, some of you are already doing this as well. Demonstrates a complex understanding of historical development that is the focus of the prompt. Using evidence to corroborate, qualify, or modify an argument. Now, what does this all mean? You analyze multiple variables. You consider both similarity and difference and both continuity and change, one or the other. Or you examine multiple causes or both causes and effects, or you make other additional connections across periods beyond what you've already said up here, all right? Or you confirm the validity of an argument by corroborating multiple perspectives across themes, or you consider diverse and alternate views or evidence. Now, you may say, well, that's a lot of big words there and concepts. Yes, you don't have to do all this. These are some of the things you might do. And how would you do that? Well, one of the easiest ways to do this is to use a source to confirm or challenge another source. You do that 2 or 3 times, and you are into this analysis and reasoning. Or by raising an alternative perspective. For example, you claim, maybe you claim that the one thing, and you support that claim with 3 statements, and then you add a 4th body paragraph that looks at a whole different way of responding to the claim. It says, however, these sources could be used in this way. So that's another way of doing this. Use sources against or to support each other, and discuss that, or introduce another body paragraph and talk about, you know what, we could look at this whole topic in a whole different way. All right. Now, that's the DBQ rubric for AP World. As I said, there are 7 points. You get 1 point, either you have it or you don't. However, on our rubric that I use for grading you, I give you credit for partial use of partially fulfilling each of these. And so you can get a little bit higher points. All right. Any questions, please put them in the comment section, and I'll address them for everybody. And I look forward to going over this essay with you.